Holden fans were thrilled with what happened in 1978 because Peter Brock came back to the Holden dealer team. He'd been away for a couple of years doing his own thing. It had been a bit of a changing of the guard. Harry Firth, the long-time HDT chief, had retired. John Shepherd, who'd looked after Pete Gagan for many years, he took over as the team manager.
I wasn't aware that there'd been any negotiations going on with Peter Brock, and I thought at the time he was an interesting figure. He had lots of, obviously he's a very good driver, but there's a lot of other background stuff going on.
And Holden knew that if they wanted to beat Moffat and avenge that loss from 1977, they had to get the best driver back in the best team, and that was Brock in the HDT.
And Alan Moffat's qualifying time is 2 minutes 21.597 seconds. He has not beaten Peter Brock's time.
Congratulations, Peter. Second year in succession pole position.
Yes, George, yes, thank you.
Well, may I, on behalf...
Well, I was just at home one day and I got a ring from Brocky's accountant, and he asked me if I'd like to drive with Peter Brock at Bathurst, and he told me how much he'd pay me, and I said yes, of course.
Australia's toughest motor race is about to start. The Hardy Ferodo 1000, the supreme test of man and machine.
With two really good drivers and a well-funded team that was run properly, you're always going to get a good result, I thought.
The A9X was probably the culmination of years and years of development. It was improved at the rate of a second a lap here, and a horsepower there, and a tyre there, and it was just, but the A9X was the ultimate.
The checkered flag unfolds for the 1978 champion, Peter Brock.
It's really funny when you look back at 1979. There's so many race fans these days who look back with the rose-coloured glasses and say, that's one of the greatest races of all time. But the reality is, it was one of the greatest dismantlings of the field by Peter Brock, Jim Richards and the Holden dealer team.
First time I did this walk, I was barely out of my teens, and I think my knees just shook with fright. This is my 10th Bathurst Enduro, but I don't mind admitting that the butterflies are still there.
We did expect to win if we did everything properly, and the attitude around the team was confidence, if you like, and I think you see that in all sorts of sporting teams. If things are going well, they get confident, and confidence builds on confidence.
We realised we were both slapping the track at the same speed, and we were as quick or quicker than anyone else out there. And of course, when you're young and that, you knew that no one else could go as good as you could, so, you know, you're all pretty confident.
You had no dramas or anything?
No, none whatsoever. Running like a champ.
So what do you think it is now? Just a case of coasting to the line, do you think?
Well, it looks like it's just a case of continuing to keep up a steady pace, and if we make it to the finish, great.
They led every lap. They took pole position, and Brock set the fastest lap of the race on the last lap, which was also a new lap record. Oh, and by the way, he won by 6 laps. He was 36 kilometres in front of the second place car.
And people are saying, well, what's Brock doing? He's in charge. But no, it's, I mean, and even that, when you look back at that and you think, okay, well, why are you going out and speeding off into the distance? And answer, because we can.
The winner of this year's Hardy Ferodo, and now he has 4 victories in Australia's greatest race, Peter Brock.
Thank you very much, Evan.
We will never see a race or a result like Brock from 79 at Bathurst ever again.
We'd come from the hatchback Tirana to almost a completely different car. Nice and rounded and different lines, and it wasn't quite as powerful as the Tiranas were, but it still absolutely was a terrific car around the track.
It didn't start in the way that it normally would. Brock actually had contact with a lap Gemini at the top of the hill and ended up barrel rolling it down the road.
I jumped on the brakes and didn't hit him very hard, actually, although it skewed him offside and he hit the tyre barrier with a nice gentle roll.
Oh, we've had another bang and is that the race?
That's the leader. Dick Johnson. Now, whether Dick has been hampered by the rescue...
Brock is exhausted. The man has just driven the stint of his life, taking his car from a position of absolute disaster to that of potential winner.
I was more pleased to drive it across the line than I was probably the other two wins, you know what I mean? But it was really good. And he could have got in at the last stop, but he left me in the car and I drove to the finish, which was terrific.
Now here it comes, the checkered flag for Peter Brock and Jim Richards. Richards at the wheel. A great finish. Peter Brock now makes it 5 Hardy Frodo successes.
1981 for Brock, the pre-race Bathurst slogan from the dealer team was "Drive like the devil." And he had to drive like the devil because the Commodore at Bathurst didn't have the power of Dick Johnson's Falcon. It didn't have the power of Kevin Bartlett's Camaro. So the early laps of that year's race were stunning. Those three smashed one another up. There was contact like it was a 5-lap sprint race.
I suppose there was a bit of disappointment, but from the run that we had for the last 3 years, I mean, we couldn't be too unhappy.
Bartlett, Brock is, I think, in trouble. Yes, he's been passed by Kevin Bartlett, goes back into the race lead. Johnson is in second place.
1982 was a big year for me in the context. It was my first year running the Holden dealer team of Rockies. I was the workshop manager and the co-driver, and I accepted the co-driver role relatively reluctantly. That wasn't my goal, but somebody had to do it.
Perkins helps cool the race leader by putting ice down the back of his neck.
I remember clearly saying, guys, this is going to be the easiest race in the world to win if we all do our job properly.
No way. Stand by for the pandemonium that's about to break loose as Peter Brock comes round Murray's corner to take the checkered flag at the end of the great race.
After only 5 Bathursts, where I've already been on the podium 3 times, to get a win was just fantastic.
Larry's going to give them a hose. And certainly number 05. Racing in the 83 James Hardy Classic. Peter Brock in the 05 car off the inside gets away smartly, but Fury comes up with him.
Yeah, everything was going well till I think it was lap 16 or 17, somewhere thereabouts, not far before our first scheduled pit stop. And Peter's come down the Conrod Straight and the engine failed.
Hello, 05, Peter Brock is in the pits. Well, one sensation after another in this race. The leader of the race coming in very slowly too. Just crawling into the pit area, the mechanics hustling around to find out what's wrong. They're putting
the night before, I had called our little meeting with the guys. I said, this is the rules. If should whatever happen, we, as in Peter and I, will take over your car. If ours fails, because the rules allowed you to take over someone else's car, you couldn't all share the next car.
Here's Peter Brock now walking into the pit area to break the bad news to Brother Phil, do you think?
I think so.
I'm still very disappointed in Peter and John for not making sure that I still got to drive in the car.
As 25 rejoins the race, Hardy knows he has done his job well. He has maintained the car near the head of the field, and it is running perfectly.
John didn't understand the rules as well as I. Don't forget, I was paid to know the rule book backwards, and it's well known that I indeed know the rule book backwards.
But from what I know, Larry actually made the decision, but John was the actual team manager.
When you take over someone's car, it's no longer their car. They don't get to hop back in, and that was the bit that John and Philip Brock didn't understand because they had never read the rule book.
Through the gears, he's done it. He's put 7 on the board. Peter Brock wins the 1983 James Hardy 1000 at Mount Panorama, Bathurst.
People everywhere ring up about that whole race and that incident, and you know, Peter and Larry staying in the car and not letting us back in it.
Yeah, it is a shame because I think with the races I did up there and how I performed over the years, I probably deserve to get a drive in it, yeah.
Yes, he was personally miffed about that, but hey, in racing careers, everyone gets miffed about something at some point in time.
By very nature of its length, 1,000 kilometres in distance and 6 hours in time.
The 84 Bathurst, the cars we had, they were very well prepared, and we'd done a lot of homework, a lot of testing, and I probably felt more confident about success in 84 than the other years I'd been with Peter.
Acknowledging the cheers and moving off to the left-hand side of the road to allow those other cars still to continue uninterrupted, and I'd say that's exactly what
Peter slowed right up to what he'd been slowing for a few laps to get David to catch up.
It's going to be the slowest visit to the checkered flag ever for Peter Brock, and he is waiting on the inside.
When David saw him at the last minute, I'm not sure that he knew it was the last lap, and I don't think he was absolutely sure what to do. And yeah, Brock was slowing, and he nearly ran into him, as I said. And anyway, they went across the line, 1-2, and that was very nice. Because that's what Peter had been slowing down for, that's what he wanted. But it was pretty close to being a disaster, I reckon.
Here he comes. Don't say this wasn't orchestrated. A 1-2 for the dealer team. Peter Brock in 0-5 comes across the line to win the 1984 James Hardy 1000. Second.
So, yeah, to pull 3 in a row off, it's pretty, to look back now and think, yeah, it's pretty good. Be given the job of engineering the cars and then fill in as the co-driver, you know, at the main races and pull off those 3 wins. Yeah, pretty good memories.